So the way we get to the call log is if we go through the global menu and we just hit call log right here. And so here it brings us to the search parameters where we can search for the call and narrow down our search. And we have a little button here that we can click just to minimize this section since it's a little lengthy. And here we have all of the calls that go in and out of our organization. So we have the call set number, the call ID number, the date, the status of the call type, so whether it's inbound or outbound. We have the next, who's next to call, so whether it's intake or the caller. We have the caller themselves, the client that it's regarding, or if it's a call-only client. We have the subject, the duration of the call, the worker, and the program. And so I'm actually going to start a new call. I'm going to put a new call in so we can see how that looks. So here we go. So automatically, it just auto-populates with the date right at the top here, and we can pick the status of the call. So I'm just going to put in progress. We have the program, the worker, the type of call, so whether it was inbound or outbound, the method, and we have live call right here. And here I can add my caller. So I'm just going to click on this address book. And I can search for my caller here if we already have them in the system. But I'm actually going to add a new personal support. And I'm just going to pick a name. So I'll just pick Harry Potter. And then you can put in their phone number. We can give them permission to call, text, and leave a message. And we will save the call. Oh, just add one more number. There we go. So once we do that, we have assigned a caller to this log. And we can add a client or a call-only client. So adding a client is just, searching them up and finding them. And a call-only client is someone that we essentially don't have enough information to create an entire client file, but we need to report everything. So we have call-only clients as well. So I'm just going to search. So we can add a new client here, but I'm just going to search for one that we already have in the system. Again, we have our search parameters right here if we wanted to narrow down a search. Okay. So we have a referral source as well, so we can add where we've gotten them from. We have any presenting issues. And we also have an activity list. So I'm just going to pick an activity. And we can pick the duration of how long we did that activity for. And we can also add an activity. So if we did multiple activities in one call, we can indicate that and also put in a time. So I'm going to put 1 hour. And here we have the urgent checkbox. So if I click this, this call will actually come to the top of the list in the call log search. So I'm just going to do that just so you can see what that looks like. And we can put in a subject. And then we can indicate who's next to call. So I'll just say intake is next to call. We can pick our case note type and add any attachments that we need. So I'm just going to pick a contact case note. So once I save that, I'm going to scroll to the top. It gives us a call ID number and a call set ID number. So I'm going to explain what that means. If I come here and copy, right at the top here, it adds a new call to this call set ID. So now I have these two calls that are related, that are about the same thing, but I put them in one file. So if I wanted to search for both calls, I would just go in the call search log and click and put in call set ID 26, and it'll bring me both calls. So I'm just going to go ahead and fill this out again so you can see what that looks like in the call log search. So just very quickly, just going to fill this out. So it auto-populates with the caller and the call-only client. And I can pick that. Okay. So now once I save and go back to the call log search right here. So I put this call as urgent, so it comes right to the top of my screen here. But if I wanted to search for that specific call set ID, I would just do so by going into the search parameters, 26. Oh, let me just reset this. 26, search, and it will bring me both calls under the same call set ID. Okay, so I'm just going to reset and search again. So I want to show you something else. If I click on a call that is bolded, nothing happens. If I click on a call that has a status, so for example, this one, nothing happens. But if I click on a call that doesn't have a status or is not bolded, for example, like this one, it will ask me if I want to tag this call as being reviewed. And once I do that, I am claiming this call. So it says review tagged here, and it puts my name right there. So essentially, we have this feature for intake teams. And so we don't want multiple people on an intake team calling just one individual about the same thing. We want to make sure that our workers can claim calls. So I'm claiming this call. Okay, and if I made a mistake and I actually didn't want to tag myself, I could just remove the review tag right there. Okay, I'm going to go back in the call log search, and I'm going to talk about a couple of features that I didn't discuss before. So this, again, is the urgent. This little caution sign means that this call was urgent. And also, this copy button right here does the exact same thing that we did when we added the call to the call set ID. It's just you don't have to go through the call and then click copy. It has it right at the front page. And we also have these check boxes for those that don't have a call-only client or a client assigned to them. So once we click the checkbox, we can select a client or a call-only client. Okay. And it also tells us, so this page actually refreshes every few minutes just to keep everything up to date. And it also tells you when it was last refreshed. Okay. So that is essentially the call log module. I'm going to move into appointment reminders. So maybe I'll just give a couple seconds if anyone's writing down their questions or anything like that. Okay.
There is a Q&A section just along the bottom activity bar. Amanda's manning that station. So throw in any questions as Saba's going through, and Amanda will be able to answer them.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to move on to appointment reminders, and I'm going to do that through the client file. So I'm going to pick my client, Shania Twain here. And the way we turn on appointment reminders is we go to their client file. We go on the client menu and hit dataset. And we're going to scroll down and find telehealth appointments notification. So we're going to enter in their email and their cell phone. And essentially, the way we can send an appointment reminder is we go through appointments right at the top here. We can add a new appointment. And all we really need to do is just make sure that the client is marked as present. So if we mark them as absent, or if we just put in this little box, this blank box here, they won't get a reminder. And there's actually, so agencies get the choice to choose whether they want to turn 3 options on. So one of the options is a confirmation message. So it goes out the night that you schedule the appointment. And the language in that message for all messages is actually dependent on the organization themselves. So you can really create that. We have reminders for the appointment, and the agency can choose how soon they want that text to go out. So whether it's 3 days before the appointment, a week before the appointment, it's really dependent on the organization. And we also have a follow-up. So when an appointment is resolved into a contact, that night they get a message for the follow-up. Yeah, so I'm just going to go ahead and fill this out because this is relevant towards the Outlook integration. So the Outlook integration is pretty easy. What it is, it basically just sends an appointment that you have to your Outlook. So if you're someone that uses your Outlook calendar a lot, this is probably a very useful module for you. And it's very simple. So all we would need to do to send an appointment to your calendar is just to hit send to Outlook calendar, and it will send the appointment information to your Outlook calendar. And once you send that, it will say appointment request sent successfully. So that is essentially the webinar for today.